For the guy who said that Arc Warden is a bad hero current patch, I actually think that he is good, but people haven't figured out how to use him. Because he does have a positive win rate right now with power capture in High Immortal. 361 games, 52% win rate. But the idea is that itemizations are a little bit different now, and overall you have some differences in how you want to approach things, right? But you have more damage on max level by 21. You have the power capture, which is really good. You actually lost 2 base damage though, so that hurts you a little bit, but damage gain per level is 3.6, which is really nice. But the power capture is incredibly powerful. I did this in the previous game that you guys could see. But if you're dire in particular, Arc Warden is very good. His dire mid laning is really, really strong. So the reason that it's so strong on dire is because of the range. So this is an 1800 range, 1800 range to capture, which means that if I put it down here, it's gonna capture both the runes. And if you look at mid, like really look at it now, if I put the bubble, the rune is here and the rune is here. The only way Radiant can do it is by putting it here. You can't actually go very far back, but if you look at dire, you can go pretty far back because the runes are actually closer to the dire mid laner. Believe it or not, the runes are not equidistant to either. Like if you look at this rune, which mid tower is closest to it? Definitely this tower, right? There's no arguments. The other one is all the way over here. So you can quite easily see that this tower is really close. And which rune is which tower is this closest to? Well, so if I put the bubble like here, quantum flicker, it doesn't pull any of the runes, right? This is too far away. And that's like, what, 500 range away from the tower? Now, I'm going to show you like 500 range away from this tower, over here, on your comfortable high ground. You put this. It takes not only one rune, but both of them. So this is super important. Also, note that it pulls them the entire distance and will activate them for you. That's really nice. But not only that, it pulls them over the high ground very rapidly. So you only have this distance to pick the rune, and then it's tree line, high ground, high ground. You can't take it anymore. So you need to be on the rune immediately. Now you can say, okay, but Waga, my enemy is not stupid, right? So I'm playing against the Storm. And this Storm, he's no dumbass. He's gonna understand this because he's a genius. So now that the next runes are coming, we're 1 minute and 47. So he's gonna go and pre-check this rune. Then okay, yeah, you can go pre-check. I'm gonna come along with you. Now he's in a weird spot where if he turns, I just hit him, right? But if he keeps going for the rune, when he goes for the rune, I just put this and start running for the other rune. And it insta-picks it. You have no way to outclick it. So if he runs for a rune, he loses. If he doesn't run for a rune, then he also loses. So basically what I'm telling you here is the only way to get the rune is by not allowing Arc Warden to do any of these things, which is a whole lot more difficult than it may even sound. You need to not allow Arc Warden to either follow you like this or put a bubble here and hold his high ground. So now you need a hero that pre-level 4 can bully an Arc Warden out of lane. That's a little bit difficult to ask for. Like, which mid-hero dumpsters Arc Warden level 1 to level 3? I'm gonna give you the answer here, chat. No hero does it unless it's multiple heroes. You said Dazzle? Okay, I'm gonna show you what happens with Dazzle. So, any rune controlling mid-hero, pretty much, or rune dependent mid-hero, pretty much automatically loses all their tempo early game because they don't get any runes. It's sort of like laning against a Lina. Laning against Arc Warden, pretend it's Lina, and then you'll understand. He has more attack range than you, he has fantastic stats, his damage is really good, his armor is really good, his HP is really good. The only thing he's bad at is he's kind of slow. But that doesn't change anything when it comes to trading hits. So basically what I'm telling you is that Arc Warden, on Dire in particular, is insanely good at controlling runes. On Radiant, it is worse, but still pretty damn good. It's not as effective, but it's still very good. But yeah, playing non-rune dependent mid heroes could be better. Like playing a Dragon Knight mid. Or, you know, even play some weird stuff. Yeah, Pudge mid. Sure, you could maybe make a Pudge mid work. Arc Warden is super slow. If you land one good hook, you could win that lane. Academy class here. Love it. I'm just sharing some knowledge on what I've found to be true. And, you know, overall, I think people haven't figured this out. This is why I'm sharing it with you guys. A lot of people don't know this. Even Immortal players, even really, really good players, like Arc Warden's pick rate right now is abysmal in Immortal. Nobody's doing this, pretty much. There are very, very, very few people who have caught on to this and how to do it. And even out of the people who do play it, I don't think they have really understood how to capitalize on the power. The only thing for me is I'm not really sure about itemizations yet. Like, obviously, Arc Warden, I have a lot of experience with the hero, and, you know, I can come up with good builds. But I'm not really 100% confident in the best build always, every single game. Like, that's harder for me to say right now. But yeah, I have 400 games Arc Warden with a 65% win rate, so he is one of my best heroes. The thing is, item build, I think I might be underestimating the potential to go for either casual Aghanim Scepter, just for the extra duration and silence, which is kind of nice. However, it gets hard countered by BKBs and Manta Styles, which is tricky. Either Aghanims or Hex. I think what I like is the idea of going for standard stuff like Midas, Travels, and Maelstrom, which is sort of the bread and butter for an Arc Warden mid. And then after that, going towards Hex. Like Mjolnir, Blink, Hex. Or maybe not even Blink. But, you know, just get the Hex and then you can go whatever from there. But yeah, that's what I've been thinking about. Because the few games I've played it so far, I felt like I'm missing a little bit on the control, since Gleipnir is not the play anymore. Like, Gleipnir is just shit now for Arc Warden. Don't go Gleipnir. It is so bad. Awful. Do not do it. It's terrible. It's super bad. It used to be the build for Arc Warden. I think it's really, really not good anymore. The stats are really whatever for Arc Warden. You don't care about getting 450 HP. He has good HP. He has terrible stats when it comes to armor and mobility. So this doesn't really solve the problem. And the HP is very ineffective HP or inefficient, since you don't have good armor. How about Orchid or Bloodthorn? Yeah, I mean, Orchid and Bloodthorn are good. I did just play a game where I did buy Orchid very early. Now, that was also me customizing... This fucking bug again. That was also me customizing to the game that I was in. I was going to show you the game, but Dota doesn't like showing stuff. Can I find it from here? Insane. What a play. Yeah, so obviously in the game that we just went for, I went for Midas into Orchid, because I think it's really good here. They have a lot of heroes that are nice to silence. Basically, all the heroes are super susceptible to silence. So this is a good Orchid game. Also, they don't really want to go like Yule Scepter or something on Storm, or rush BKB. It feels bad. And now Weaver kind of has to go for a Dispel eventually. He did go for a second item Mules, but it's not really what he wants to. It takes away his ability to transition to be a core. He can't go Diffu build or something like that. And even against like Terrorblade, Mirana, just having more silence is good. And even against Storm, no matter if he gets a BKB eventually, Orchids are good against him. Not necessarily a solution, but they're good. But this is where I'm thinking maybe my itemization could have been somewhat different. Like, maybe instead of the Hurricane Pike here, this is a Hex. I do like the big focus in damage that I went for. But, yeah, I think maybe instead of going for a Hurricane Pike right here, this should have been Hex. And I'm not 100% sure about the MKB, but I think the MKB was a good choice. Like, it's incredible damage. Also, it counteracts the negative part of the Arc Warden, which I haven't really mentioned, but Arc Warden gets aids over time. His ulti gets a mischance. So MKB is inherently better item on Arc Warden now, because you get 35% mischance towards the end of the duration of your ulti. So you could basically see it as every single enemy have evasion to a certain degree, or at least you have the mischance. So counteracting that is very nice. Isn't Pike Omega value on Universal Heroes though? It is value, but I wouldn't say that it's like the relevant part at this stage of the game. It's not so much about the value. Yes, the stats are nice. It is very, very nice stats. You get a bit of all stats, quite a lot of it actually, and you get HP. I mean, maybe the argument should be that it's Hurricane Pike and Hex. That might be stronger actually. Sacrifice a bit of damage, sacrifice your True Strike, and instead have a Hurricane Pike and Hex, so you can disable the enemy and just kill them. Because then you can Pike in and Hex them, which can catch people off guard. But yeah, then we have the big question, when and how, or in what way would you build Aghanim Scepter builds for Arc Warden now? I'm not sure I know the answer. I have an idea, and the idea would be Midas into Maelstrom, into Travels into Aghanims. Aghanims might just be a dead item. Yeah, the sad thing about that build is it coincides perfectly with everyone else having BKB and Manta style. So by the time you have your Aghanims, it doesn't do anything. And if you don't go Maelstrom, you can't really farm. So that sucks. And if you don't go Travels, you're just immobile as fuck. It's not a very pleasant experience. And skipping Midas, I don't think that's the play. So Aghanims is this weird item that's theoretically very, very powerful, but maybe it needs to be a first item rush and then you play on a timer. But that's also a bit awkward to do. Like, you really shoot yourself in the foot. So what if the enemy just dodge you and farm, and you don't have a farming tool, and now the enemy just kind of chill? I guess you can do... Okay. I've kind of talked myself into the scenario, right? We already explained it. With everything I said, when is the good time to buy Aghanims then? The enemy want to dodge us, and we want to have confrontations if we go Aghanims second item after Midas, right? So my idea is Midas into Aghanims, and when is that a good idea? When is that nice? I told you the weakness of it. The enemy can dodge us and just go somewhere else, and then we don't get to fight them. So what would make it still good in that scenario? No itemization difference or something. Just a condition to the game. What makes it good? I'm kind of hinting at it, but I'll spell it out in a second. My enemy don't want to buy Beacony. That's true. I mean, that's what Aghanims is good against. Sure. Here's that don't want BKB. Yeah, sure. That's a very good point. But they can still dodge us, and we're getting out-farmed. So what solves that? Yes. There we go. Stefan, you can push towers if the enemy dodges you. True. But what I'm getting at is that we can't really do that alone. Like, we can push towers. But the condition I'm hinting at here is that we have superior push. We have super good push. If I have multiple other heroes that are good pushers, which we do actually in this game. So here I could have done it if I wanted to. This game is actually a ripe opportunity. This is great to analyze replays like this. We're not even watching the replay. We're just theory crafting for a situation. Look at the enemy heroes. They are weak to Aghanims. Yes? Look at our heroes. They are good pushers. So if I went Midas into Aghanims here and just said, let's go at towers, the enemy probably can't fight that. It was very hard for him to fight into it. And because we have Abaddon, and we have Beastmaster who also pushes pretty decently, and Jakiro who also pushes really well with his fire, they can't really just dodge us because even a tier 2 tower falls easily to this lineup. So this is a situation when you could have skipped Maelstrom and gone for the commitment. Yeah, the Aghanims is that the Q silences and also gets more duration.
The self seeks to end the great scale.
And it also gets more damage. Yeah, it's 30 more damage per second, 2 more seconds duration, and it silences. I mean, it does do a lot of damage. Honestly, it's kind of scary. If you are completely isolated, a single click from this is 720 damage. Assuming that both Arc Warden and his clone click it on you, that's 1440 damage without anything else used. It's not immediate, but it is... That is the amount of damage. And you also get silenced, so you need someone to rescue you. And that's why I think you could probably go... We can dig further here. Sorry, some may be completely uninterested in this, but this is an interesting thought experiment, right, that we're going through. If we were to hypothesize that we go for the Midas Aghanims and we push towers, and say we are doing some tower damage, but the enemy are still splitting us because they don't want to fight us. I think the next item would be Blink. And then we can blink our clone on people and silence them, thus catching the rats, catching the splitters. And Blink is a very good item on Arc Warden in general. Needs travel still? We do. We can go back for travels afterwards. I think Blink is better. You like TP on a tier 1 tower, and then Blink to catch the rats who are farming nearby. Like say there's a random Puck or Queen of Pain or Weaver or Marana or whatever farming nearby. You just blink on them, silence them, and that's it. Now they're caught. If they don't have an ally there, they're basically dead as long as we have someone else coming in with a TP cancel. It's like the only place to TP out for them or get saved by an ally. You feel like Boots of Travel, Shadowblade, and Aghanims is more for hunting, but that's a lot of gold. It's a lot of gold, and it's not necessarily that good. Like, yeah, it's good for running around and looking for a guy that's alone, but it's not that good at reacting to rats. Because when people rat, if they push creep waves close to your towers at all, they're gonna do it very quickly and then get the fuck out. And if you see, oh, they're pushing top, I TP in my clone with Shadowblade, and I try and sneak in, they're already gone, man. But if I TP in my clone and I blink, I might actually catch them. So for punishing rats, I would say it's better to have blink. Obviously, Shadowblade is nice in the mid-game, late game to a bigger degree, since when you have Hex, you can sneak around with a Shadowblade Hex, and that's a super big threat. But that's a different story. Like, that's later, I think. Yeah, by the time you have Shadowblade, Aghanim, Scepter, and Travels, they're gonna have items. Like, safety reason. The problem is when it gets dispelled or when they're next to each other, and this is useless for 16 seconds. Especially, it doesn't do much in team fights. I mean, it's true that it is a big item that if it doesn't get to do what it wants to do, then it's effectively pretty useless, yes. It is still a stat item on a universal hero though, so at very least we get something decent-ish with it. But, yeah, you could say that it's somewhat bad. But obviously, you know, the point of the item is to fight. And the point of the item is to pick off. There we go. A lot of theory crafting around Arc Warden. Hopefully this was enlightening for some people who wanted to understand the hero a little bit better now with the changes they had. And, you know, it definitely helped me. Like, thinking out loud like this and justifying stuff. I think I have conceptualized some ideas for how to approach Arc Warden in this patch and make him work better.